now, the big story is volatility. We're seeing some major swings in the market, and that means opportunity. But here's the thing, volatility can also be dangerous if you're not careful. That's why Gareth's expertise is so valuable. He's going to show us how to read the signs, identify the trends, and make smart decisions in any market condition. Remember, we're not just following the herd here, we're using data and analysis to make informed trades. That's how you build long-term wealth, not by chasing hype or listening to the talking heads on TV. So let's dive into Gareth's pre-market analysis and see what opportunities we can uncover.
All right, so we have some movers and shakers this morning in the pre-market. We're going to look at technical levels to trade. We'll focus on Bitcoin as well as gold, silver, oil, and even natural gas is showing the potential for a little bit of a day trade today as well after filling a key gap. So again, stocks, commodities, crypto, we'll cover it all, including the psychological and education side. All right, follow me over to the big board here. If we take a look at what the markets are doing pre-market, what we can see is we closed right here yesterday. So that's where we closed yesterday. And you can see that we are up a little bit on the day. Now, what's interesting about this, right, is that, yes, we're up, but you know what? We were up yesterday. And what did we talk about? We've seen so many times where the markets are opening higher, and then early in the day, we see this selling pressure come in. Yesterday, to be fair, it was pretty much throughout the course of the day. But what does that tell us? It tells us there's this nervousness amongst the smart money, the bigger institutions. They're really not waiting to unload. We saw it into year end. We're seeing it already in January here.
One of the most important things to understand about the market is that it's not just about individual investors like you and me. There are big players out there, institutions with massive amounts of capital, and they can move the market. But here's the good news. We can track their moves and use that information to our advantage. Gareth's going to show us how to identify institutional buying and selling patterns, and that's incredibly valuable information. Because when you understand where the smart money is flowing, you can start to anticipate market moves and position yourself accordingly. Remember, in real estate, it's all about location, location, location. Well, in trading, it's all about timing, timing, timing. And by understanding institutional flow, we can get a leg up on the competition. So let's see what Gareth's analysis reveals about the smart money's moves.
All right, so a couple other things to take note of, right? We know that the patterns are bearish. The market breadth, advanced decline, has been atrocious for the last month or two. And again, these are signals that while you're still going to get bounces in the market, you just have to be more prepared. This is a market in 2025 that I think is going to be far more volatile than it was in 2024. Remember, 2024 had some pullbacks, but it was generally up and to the right? And again, yeah, you had the August correction. That was kind of the biggest correction we had, which was about 10%, but that was about it for the entire year, and it was a year where the S&P was up over 20% for the second time again in a row. 2 years in a row up over 20%. All right, so markets pre-market are up. We still have our head and shoulders pattern here.
All right, now let's get technical and talk about chart patterns. Now, I know some people think technical analysis is just voodoo, but I'm telling you, it's a powerful tool when used correctly. And one of the most reliable patterns out there is the head and shoulders pattern. Gareth's going to break down exactly what this pattern looks like, how to identify it, and most importantly, what it means for future price action. Because here's the thing, when you see a head and shoulders pattern forming, it's often a sign that a reversal is coming, and that means potential trading opportunities. Now, I'm not saying it's foolproof, but when you combine technical analysis with fundamental analysis and Gareth's insights, you're stacking the odds in your favor. So, let's see what Gareth has to say about the head and shoulders pattern and how we can use it to our advantage.
Talked about this in yesterday's game plan. For those of you that may not remember, we talked about, again, there's your head and shoulders pattern. Here's your left shoulder, your head, your right shoulder. The neckline is what you're following. We did not crack the neckline yesterday. That neckline is essentially a horizontal line across here. When price trades below it on a daily closing basis, that's when it triggers. Again, yesterday, while we were up early in the day, we closed lower, but we did not trigger the neckline. And then today, same thing. We're up right now. So as of now,
Now, one of the things I love about Gareth's approach is that he's not just focused on one asset class. He understands that diversification is key to building a resilient portfolio. So in this pre-market analysis, he's going to cover stocks, commodities, and even cryptocurrencies. That's right, we're talking about a holistic view of the market because everything is interconnected. The moves in stocks can impact commodities, crypto can react to global events, and understanding these relationships is crucial for making informed trading decisions. Remember, we're not just trying to make a quick buck here, we're building long-term wealth. And that means having a diversified portfolio that can weather any storm. So let's see what Gareth's pre-market analysis reveals about the opportunities and risks across these different asset classes.
Out on the day, it actually had a decent day yesterday in spite of the stock market rolling over, which is always nice to see because, again, it shows us that there sometimes can be a variation in price action versus stock market down. Maybe Bitcoin sometimes doesn't go down. It's good to see. Okay. Again, as I said yesterday in the game plan, all we care about is technicians. If you really want to be a true technical trader, you just follow the levels, right? There's no bias, there's no hope, there's no fear, there's no nothing. It is what it is. Support, resistance. Now, one of the things that's interesting about this is I want to just speculate, right? So part of being a good trader is saying to me, okay, well, what if this happens? Well, we know Trump is going to be in the White House in about 3+ weeks, right? So there's a little bit of excitement that's going to start to build for the crypto markets that could push Bitcoin up in the near term. I want to show you something here. If we go to the chart and we bring this out, if we go out to the inauguration date, somewhere in the, let's say January 20th to the 30th period, what do we see here? If we take a double top and we drag that across, these two points come right together at around 108,000 on the 19th of January, right before the inauguration, right?
Okay, so stocks are taking a beating, but you know what's holding strong? Bitcoin. That's right, even with the market turmoil, Bitcoin is proving to be resilient, and that's something you gotta pay attention to. Remember, Bitcoin doesn't play by the same rules as the stock market. It's driven by different factors, and right now, those factors are working in its favor. We're talking about things like institutional adoption, increasing mainstream acceptance, and a growing awareness of its potential as a hedge against inflation. Now, I'm not saying you should go all in on Bitcoin right this